All right, Mr. D, let's talk a little bit about planting fruit trees. Okay, so what do we need to start with that? Is this the time of the year to be doing that?
This is the time of the year to be really getting involved in planting fruit trees.
Okay.
It's not the time of the year to stick the trees in the ground.
Okay, good.
But it is the time of the year to be preparing your soil, making sure that your pH is right, and choosing the varieties that you're going to plant, and choosing, whether, doing research on figuring out whether or not that you need pollinators, figuring out how many you need, to feed a family of 5 or
Sure.
whatever, or depending on what you want to do with them. Going out and choosing the site, and now is the time to do that. You can do some site prep, burn down, you can control some weeds and grasses, go ahead and get it ready to do that. I've got some information that might help with that a little bit. Get my glasses on here. Auburn has a real good publication.
Yeah, he knows all about that.
And I've copied a few things from the publication, and it's entitled Fruit Culture in Alabama. And if you have a sloped area and you're planting rows, don't plant your rows up and down the hills. Plant them on the contour, because you don't want to, increase the chances of gullies forming and things like that. In a landscape situation, you don't have to pay a lot of attention to the space things that I'm about to mention, because you can kind of strategically place these, trees around, to, kind of help the aesthetic nature of your landscape. But if you have this is for a family of 5, tree fruits and nuts, 5 to 8 apples, and they recommend the semi-dwarf apples. 5 to 8 peaches if you want to go that route. 5 to 8 plums, 2 to 4 persimmons, 3 to 5 pear trees, 4 to 6 pecan trees. I really don't understand that on the pecans. On the spacings on the semi-dwarf apples, 15 to 25 feet apart.
Okay.
Because they're going to spread, and you want to be able to get between them with your, especially with your riding lawnmower or your bush hog and your sprayer and all that. Peaches, 20 by 20 or 15 by 20. The plums, same as peaches, 20 by 20. Anytime there's a choice, if you've got the room, go to the more distance between it, because it's amazing how fast those trees will
spread out.
Overlap.
Okay.
But pecans, 60 by 60.
Wow.
And that's some of the older pecan trees. There are some precocious varieties, some smaller pecans that you can plant a little bit closer than that. Pears, 20 by 20. Or 25 by 30. And some of the pear trees get a lot bigger. On pollination, most apples need to be pollinated. Some of the yellow delicious varieties are self-fruitful. Pecans are wind pollinated. Pecans need pollination. You need a type 1 with a type 2 pecan tree. Plums and peaches and nectarines are self-fruitful, so you don't need pollinators for that. Pears need cross-pollination. So you need 2 varieties of pear trees.
So when it comes down to planting them, though, how do you go about it?
Okay, planting. Okay, we've done all that.
Okay.
You've chosen your varieties. You've ordered them. You've got them coming. And the smaller plants you can get, the better off you are, in my opinion. 2-year-old plants are plenty big. So go out, you want to dig a planting hole. If you've got bare root plants, it doesn't have to be that big a hole. It doesn't need to be that deep. But the most important thing when you're planting any fruit tree is that you make sure that you plant it no deeper than the depth that it grew in the nursery. And if it's a grafted plant, usually you got 2 or 3 inches of rootstock visible above the ground. And you can see where the graft, took and came out. You don't want to cover that up, because if you plant it too deep, it'll die. I mean, it will not that it won't do well, it'll die, because the above ground portion of a plant is supposed to stay above ground. Don't mulch it, don't pile mulch up against it. The above ground portion of a hardwood plant is supposed to stay above ground. It needs air. And if you put it below the ground, it will die. And I can't repeat that enough. If you do not use a post hole digger to dig a planting hole for a tree, I don't care if it's a little bitty tree, do not use a post hole digger, because you're going to be you're going to want to dig it deeper than it needs to be dug.
Right.
Use a shovel.
Uh-oh.
Like a dirty shovel.
knew that was coming.
Use a shovel. Dig a wide planting hole, not a deep planting hole. Dig a wide planting hole, and dig it the depth that it's. If it's in a container, a pot, dig it so and take it out of the pot and set it down. And if it goes down an inch, take it out. Add dirt to the bottom and get it so that it is the same depth that it grew in the nursery.
Right.
Okay.
And then you bring the dirt, around, put the topsoil, if it's got any grass or anything, I'd crumble that up, put it down first, and then try to make a little kind of dam well out away from the stem or the base of the plant, so that when it rains, everything's going to settle down a little bit.
Right.
Keep that in mind. And if you dug it way too deep, and then you had to add a lot of soil in the bottom, that's going to settle down, and then it's going to wash in on it again. So keep that in mind. You'll actually want it up a little higher if you have a lot of loose soil in the bottom of your planting hole.
Right. And put the native soil back in the hole, right? Because it doesn't have to be amended.
That's right. It doesn't have to be amended. No, I mean, just put the native soil right back in the hole. But do that, and you don't have to stake it. If the plant is, if it's a peach, plum, or a nectarine, cut them off at 20 to 25 inches. If it's an apple or pear, it would be 25 inches. All you're doing is you're telling that plant where the first limbs, you want them to come out.
Okay.
And then if you've got a real tall tree, cut it down. I bring it down.
Let me ask you this though: how do you pick the right tree for your area, for your landscape?
I go to choosing varieties for Tennessee, tree fruit, small fruit cultivars for Tennessee. PB 746, Dr. Lockwood up in Knoxville put together a great publication. And in it, he's got peaches, the varieties that are good for Tennessee, and there's a bunch of them. I'm not going to read them all unless you want me to.
We can get them on the website.
Okay, we put them on the website. Apples, okay, I've got 4 pages of peaches, okay?
Wow.
Apples, there's not as many apples. Apples do better in higher altitudes. We're here in West Tennessee, in the Mid-South, our altitude is the lowest it is anywhere in the state of Tennessee, but we can still grow apples. And the thing I like about this publication is it also tells you about the problems. And there are problems
And they're
that
gonna
you're
be
going to run
problems.
into, fire blight and brown rot in peaches, plums, and nectarines. There's one section in the apples that has disease-resistant apples.
Good.
And in a home situation, I would probably recommend that. And keep in mind, resistance is resistance. Resistance is not proof. But this publication will tell you what varieties that have proven that will work in Tennessee.
So, Mr. D, when do we plant fruit trees?
Late winter, late February, early March is the best time, in my opinion, to put them in the ground.
All right.
That's an opinion I'd listen to.
I would too. Thank you much, Mr. D. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. To find out more information on this topic, just click on the familyplotgarden.com link in the description.